So now we're moving on to the component side of this circuit board. And according to our instructions, we now solder in the reverse side components. It says to first solder in the chips, but actually I always work from the smallest components. So I'm going to start with the resistors. Doing it this way means that you're well in hand and in practice with surface mount soldering before you get to the integrated circuits, which are probably much more difficult than just these simple passive components. So first of all, we're going to start with R1 and R2, which is 105, which is what we've got here, and those fit in down here, R1 and R2. Now we move on to R3, which is a 2K or a 202. I give you a spare of some of these components. They missed a trick in not putting the values on the silk screen. That's always a very helpful step. And now we're on to R4 to 8, which are all 10K. So we just have to remember that these are not all in a row now. And now we've got C2 and C3. So that's that page of instructions virtually finished. We have got the large capacitor to go in, but that's a bit physically big, so we'll leave that for the moment. We just work our way through the smallest components, working up in size. So the next ones I want to do is this Q1 here, which I'm guessing is one of these. They've given us two, very kindly. So we almost got that flat. Let me just press down on it and reflow. That's better. Nice and flat. I'll blast more flux and then just a quick little dab on and off. And that's that. Now we're getting on to our integrated circuits. And the first one I'm going to do is this U2. That's this DS1307. This is a real-time clock. And you notice that we have no silkscreen indication as to which is the top of the chip. We have this mystery dot here, which could be taken as that, but then we've got mystery dots placed all over the place for vias, and they look very similar, even though that one doesn't feel like a via. But what we have on the main MCU, we have the indentation, which lets us know this is the top of the package, and this would be pin 1, which is also made square. But they haven't squared any of these pins, and apart from that dot, there's no other markings. So to be sure, I just checked out the pinout of this DS 1307. I think that's what it is. Yeah, 1307. And pins 1 and 2, as we see here, come over to where the crystal goes. And that corresponds with the data sheet for this chip. So this, we know that this is this way around. Pin 1 is facing up this direction, and next to this dot, which I suspect is just a silkscreen dot and not a via. So we'll pop a bit of flux on. So you want to be careful when soldering up these chips. You want to be careful to align them, but you also want to be careful not to overheat them. So often that means taking a little bit of extra time with soldering it up. So let's see, yep, that is soldered. And use plenty, don't be scared of using plenty of flux, it always helps. Let's turn this round and we can get these other pins done. It doesn't take a lot of solder. If you use too much, you'll cause ridges. Bit more flux. I'll just double check on these that they're all done. And there we go. That's that soldered in place. Now we can come to our big one. So we're the wrong way around there. As you can see, we've got a dot on this one to indicate pin 1. Also a dot on the silkscreen. And more importantly, the square pad that often indicates pin 1. Now, as you can see on this one, I could have shifted the chip a bit more towards the other integrated circuit there. That would have given me a little bit more exposure on these pads. But it is what it is. They haven't given much extra. So we shall just do what we can with it. Just do a few and then let it cool so as not to build up too much heat in this chip. Use a lot of solder on there. Now don't panic if you do just like I've done there and create a solder bridge. Just clean all of the solder off your soldering iron, put some flux on and then just wipe it away. It may take a couple of attempts, but you will get it nice and clear of the bridge. As you can see, very little solder is actually needed. Let's see what could be next. I think we're onto a new page of instructions.